What is up, GOAT World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another GOAT format video. Just yesterday, the PWCQ 39 has finished, and here I am today with the top 8 decks. This is going to be a different presentation. There's going to be no edits. There's going to be no cuts. We're going straight through because I want to get these things out as quickly and as fast as I possibly can. So without further ado, we're going to hop on into this thing. No edits, no cuts. You guys are going to get the initial reaction of the top 8 decks. Shout out to all the participants who showed up. That was a slog. That was a tough event, tough to stream too. We had some serious issues. That stream is live and available on the channel, so if you miss it, go back and try to piece that whole thing together and you can find out the results. But here it is. Here's your top 8 coming in at that A spot. We have YATA playing the Chaos Turbo deck featuring the Mask of Darkness and the double Tsukiyomi in the main deck as well. Main decking the Reckless Greed, main decking the magical cylinders, and also the triple Solemn Judgment. I think this deck is awesome. This is the deck that was played a little bit back last dueling season. It kind of fell out of favor, and now it's kind of coming back with, I know that in New York there was some duelists coming out topping with this deck. I think James Ark played this deck, had a good performance with it, with like a flip control thing that you can kind of lock your opponent out of the game with the Solemn Judgments. You can keep recycling the Reckless Greed, keep getting draws in, and also you got the Regeki Breaks. You can spin that up with your Master Darkness, locking that out as well. I think this deck is neat. I think this deck is super cool. Somebody said that y'all was playing a Chaos Turbo burn deck, but this is not that. Still a pretty dope deck. In the side deck, you see he's got the Cyber Jar in there, which is, I think that card is dope and it probably should be played. It's severely underplayed in our metagame right now. Electing to put the Breaker, the Magical Warrior, in the side deck. I don't necessarily hate that, especially in this metagame that we find ourselves. Everything is extremely chainable. Breaker is getting worse and worse by the day. But having them in the side deck, I think, is a great call. And then you have the 2 Zombiras in the side deck as well, along with triple Saku and the double excuse me, and the double trap dust shoot. Okay, so you know what, this deck is pretty solid, pretty cool deck. I like to see it in the spice. The spice is in. Okay, this is not a spice report, this is just a tournament report. We're going to save the spice report when we actually get some certified spice decks, and we'll do it just like that. But shout out to YATA for the 8th place finish. Okay, moving on to number 7. Number 7, we have the duelist that goes by the name of RAIHAS. I'm not too familiar with the duelist RAIHAS, but they're in the building and they're knocking it down. I would call this Chaos Turbo as well, but done in their own specific way, tweaking it to their own likability, I suppose. You got the Zaborg in the main deck, you have the Mystic Tomato in the main deck. Those 2 cards typically aren't played in Chaos Turbo. And you have the Spirit Reaper also in the main deck, along with those Dekoichi, the battle chanted locomotives, holding it down with a double main deck Sakuretsu armor. I think that was a pretty incredible call because the Warrior Menace is among us. Okay, we are still in Trap Does Shoot meta, which means that the Warrior decks are going to come out to play, and having a main deck Sakuretsu armor with some aggressive options like the Mystic Tomato might be a great call for this event. And this deck seemed like it could have a good turbo matchup still, even though you're on the Regeki break. You do have that main deck Zaborg, which is a great card versus turbo. I think this deck is pretty cool. The side deck can be cleaned up a little bit. You got some cards in there. I see this Possessed Dark Soul, and I love that card. I think it's extremely spicy, and maybe this duelist had an idea that perhaps, just perhaps, there would be a lot of chaos control and go control type decks coming in. Maybe that was a call they made, but having the Possessed Dark Soul in the side deck and the Soul Release in the side deck and the Lightning Vortex in the side deck, I think that's a lot of cards that's geared towards the chaos control and the go control type decks that maybe you could have used a couple of those slots to help bolster the Warrior matchup. But you do have a lot. You have the Berserk Gorillas in there. I don't know. So this deck seems pretty solid. I like what this duelist got going on. RAIHAS, I hope they continue to play in these events. Okay, moving on to the number 6 position. Oh man, sorry. No edits. The number 6 position, we have the good homie and good friend and teammate CRASHVOLT coming on in, playing this really cool Chaos Control deck. I love to see the Chaos Control making its way back into the metagame. I love to see the GOATs slowly find their way back into the metagame. And if you're going to do it, this is probably a good way to do it too. He still has access to the card destruction. You still got the Knight Assailants in there, so you still can turbo your way through. You can turbo your way through, but if you need to slow this thing down and have some additional defense that those scapegoats can provide, that those creature swaps can provide. I saw this duelist on the stream all day long, and those creature swaps were going insane all day long, swapping tokens, swapping, useless cards, get some of your opponent's beefy cards. You got those wing blasts to stack that deck back up. You got the 1L Solemn Judgment. I think this deck is solid as a rock. If you want to play some Chaos Control, this is kind of what they're looking like. You got to speed it up a little bit. You got to have those flips a little bit. I know I like to play them aggressively, but I think this might be the better way to go with it. In the side deck, electing to keep those double main deck Karibos might have been good call, because there was some reasoning gate in this event, and you will see as we go along, as you see the Ashura Priestess in there, you got the Genzo in there, and you have the 2 Soul Exchanges in there. This is a card that I've been kind of looking at a little bit. I think this card is primed and ready to get back into this meta game as well, to kind of thwart that Chaos Turbo deck. It's also great against Warriors. If you can bring in those Mobius the Frost Monarchs, you can bring in the Genzo, you also have those Thunder Dragons. That's just so many cards that can play into this Soul Exchange along with the Metamorphosis that you have. So I think that's a pretty dope inclusion into this side deck. I think that is a great call. But this deck seems super solid so far. We have seen a flip control type Chaos Turbo, and we've seen CRASHVOLT playing this deck, and you've seen a different type of turbo coming in from RAIHAS. So that's 3 kind of different decks that we've seen in this event. There was a lot of parity in this tournament, so I thought it was really cool to see how the top 8 end up shaking out. But again, huge congratulations to CRASHVOLT for getting the 6th place finish, and I'm so excited to see what this duelist has coming up in the next the next few dueling days, weeks, and months as we go along. All right, moving on. We got the 5th place. We have the duelist that goes by the name of GREYCE in the building, holding it down all day, every day, playing this warrior strategy in their own way. Again, this is another way to do it, kind of going with a more flip variety, typical of what Ludovico Rizzo did a few events ago, typical of kind of what's popular in the metagame right now. Understanding the game, understanding what needs to be done, elected to remove the main deck mind control in favor of the GK Spicer in the main deck, keeping the Book of Moon in the main deck, got the Magician of Faith in the main deck. All cool stuff. You know, the theory is they knock your stuff, you knock their stuff. It doesn't matter. You're going to lose it. You don't need it. They need it more than you do. And then you can continue to assault your opponent's HQ. I think that's a dope call. But also, additionally, this duelist is rocking the Sakuretsu armors in there to kind of counterbalance the warrior menace that might be befalling this event. That a lot of people are feeling that's the way this thing's going to go. But also, playing double trap dust shoot instead of going with the full 3. Again, potentially hedging for an aggressive style deck, an aggressive style competition that maybe everyone thought will be coming with the warrior deck being as popular and prevalent as it has been lately. In the side deck, it's pretty standard stuff, pretty cool stuff. But if you look over here, he's got the Nobleman of Extermination and the 1/7 tools of the Bandit. Nobleman of Extermination is a card that I think is dope and is good enough to be played. I think GREYCE kind of tapped into the spice bag a little bit, pulling that thing back off the bench, because it kind of went into relegation because everything became so chainable. Well, guess what? In game 2 and game 3, the style is bringing in Sakuretsu armors and widespread ruins and all these unchainable cards to replace your chainable cards. Guess what? A Nobleman Extermination can come on out and blast that stuff. So I think that's a great call, especially if you're playing an aggressive deck, to support that Mobius as well and the 2 Spirit Reapers. I think warrior players and Spirit Reaper, I don't know why they haven't been playing that card, but now they're playing it, and it's causing a lot of problems in our meta game. So very interesting to see how this thing continues to turn and how this continues to evolve and revolve. But GREYCE with the number 5 finish, I can see this duelist getting an invitation to the Go Format World Championship very soon. I think he's super solid, dope player. All right, moving on to number 4, we have GRUMPLESTIELZCHEN, who already has an invitation to the GOAT Format World Championship, playing this Chaos Return type deck. I like this deck. I think this deck is really, really groovy. Coming on out, it can be very aggressive. It can accost your health, as you can see with these Blade Knights. He's got the Dequaches in there sitting at 3 copies. You got the doubles of Borgin in there. You have the Sork in there. So this deck can come at you a lot of different ways. You know, you can beat them down. You can try to turbo them out, play the whole grind card advantage kind of stuff. You can start slapping the Borgs down. And then if all that fails, you just turbo out, get to this return from the different dimension, play a couple of dust tornadoes or a heavy storm or something, and obliterate their health box if you can get the right materials banished. I think this deck is fire. I think this is cool. This is a cool kind of take on return. I don't think I've seen it played necessarily like this with these specific ratios. But I think Grumple might be cooking on to something, because Return is a great card to kind of finish, but it's not built to be a full blown Return kind of deck. In the side deck, again, seems pretty standard with all the hits you come to know and love. You got that tertiary copy of Trap Dust Shoot going to be in the side deck, along with that Zing Zan Hu and that little Cliffy boy kind of kicking it right there in the side deck as well. Just coming on in if you got some, Royal Decrees or some type of level limit or whatever. Cliff can come on out and clear a lot of that stuff up. I think Cliff is severely underplayed as well. But shout out to Grumple, shout out to the Bones organization for rocking and rolling so far. And we're going to see what this duelist has coming up next. We're going to keep an eye on all these duelists, but I love to see what Grumple's cooking here. Definitely a Spice Lord all the way in the building. Moving on to third place. We have PATRICKZERO. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit disappointed to see PATRICKZERO in this event not playing the patent pending Bazoo Fusion deck that this duelist has come to be known for. However, this duelist elected to dip into the Spice bag and jump into the Warrior bag like everyone else has been doing, realizing that Warriors might be in a great position in our metagame, and electing to do it in their own specific, unique way, playing, double Kaiku and the Upstart Goblins back on the Upstart package in here with triple Dust Shoot, triple Solemn, one Dust, no Saku in the main deck. However, if you look into the side deck, this duelist has gone bananas over here and has taken the low bounty theory and has jumped off a cliff with it, because he's going to say, I'm not main decking one, I'm playing 1, 2, 3 copies of Magician of Faith in the side deck, which is just absurd, which is just ridiculous when you look at it. It just looks so funny seeing those 3 spellcasters staring back at me in the side deck. Like, what is going on? What is going on with this game of Yu-Gi-Oh! GOAT format that we've come to know and love, where Warrior players are side decking triple Magician of Faith, triple GK Spy, double Mobius, Brain, double Zinger is in the side deck. I think it's hilarious. It's probably going insane and bananas all day. It's just a matter of time before duelists start keeping these Nobleman crossouts in, playing against these burn decks. But you know what? It is what it is, and PATRICKZERO is gonna go there with it. I think you gotta go there sometimes, and he went there all the way, both feet in, with triple Faith in the side deck with triple Saku and triple Spy. Love to see it. So PATRICKZERO going ahead and gets the third place finish playing this Warrior deck. Double Mystic Swordsman level 2 and double Book in the main is really cool. I think that's also very trendy, something that is catching on. Okay, moving on to second place. We had Evil BARL WAITE, aka Carl Waite, and I can't say enough about this duelist. I am such a huge fan of Carl Waite, and it's very obvious. Everyone knows that I am just a huge supporter of Carl Waite and what he's been doing this dueling season and throughout the entire, the entire revival of GOAT format. He's absolutely been crushing this whole time, and he's been on a tear. 1 GGP in Philly, 1 GGP in New York, was trying to come back for a 3-time win this season and just could not quite get there playing this Chaos Turbo deck. I see it right here. He's doing it big. He's been playing this deck for quite some time now, sticking with the card destruction, sticking with the main deck mind control, kind of keeping the Trap Dust Shoots in there, being very consistent, riding the horse that got you there, and he's absolutely getting after it, but he was not able to achieve victory in this event. He did have the side deck Karibo in there. You have the 2 Kaiko the Ghost Destroyer, the 2 Skilled Dark Magician. The Lightning Vortex in the side deck might be the way. So if you're thinking about a card to put into your side deck, think about putting a Lightning Vortex in your side deck, because this thing was going crazy today. I saw it on the stream. Put a Swords of the Villain Light in your side deck. This card was going insane today as well. I saw it all day happening. Dust Tornadoes and Sakuretsu Armor. I think this deck is super, super solid. If you want to try some Chaos Turbo, maybe consider trying a deck like this and see if you can duplicate some of the results that Evil BARL WAITE was knocking out. Again, huge shout out to Carl. Can't say enough about that duelist and what they have accomplished so far in their dueling season. Okay, but moving on to first place. In first place, none other than a duelist that goes by the name of PAEDE, or Paid17. I've been saying paid all day because this duelist is cash money, paid in the shade, coming on in, rocking it with a Reasoning Gate strategy. Okay, Reasoning Gate, I don't think has won I don't think Reasoning Gate has won a significant Go format dueling event all season. I could be incorrect. Everyone thinks this deck is very glass cannon. Everyone thinks this deck can just self-implode and die, which is true. But Paid was cooking with this deck. He was making it absolutely happen, playing the 8 monster variety. Only 2 Sorks. I thought this duel was rocking 3 Sorks at a certain time, but he's only rocking the 2 Sorks, rocking the BLS, rocking the DMOC Genzo, double Sacred Crane, and 1 Toon Cannon Soldier. I think this deck is heat. I thought that maybe the deck would not be as good if you're not playing a card like Metamorphosis, or if you're not, having the ability to have a different layer. I've always been under the auspices or under the mind that this deck needs another layer. You can't just lean on this OTK stuff. You're gonna run out of gas. You have to be able to grind. You need the metas. You need the Snatch Steal. You need all these cards to be able to just brain controls and stuff to kind of play a different game if you need to. But Pay proved that incorrect, and he came out and pushed it on through and got the invitation in the dog way too, through Dogville all the way back up for a bracket reset, and then comes on out with the dub. I'm going to see if I can reach out to this duelist and have them come on by and talk to him. I get to know this duelist Paid for winning this event. But if it can't happen, it is what it is, and you guys can see this cool RGT deck. This is one of the most popular decks we have in Go format, especially for newer duelists coming on in the Go format. Everyone likes to jump onto this RGT strategy. So if you want to see it, this is technically this right here. This amalgamation of cards is going to be the latest and greatest. I believe this is the deck that Delinquent has been playing very, very recently in a lot of events. I think Delinquent's been pushing Reasoning Gate hard. Paid has picked up the mantle and is able to get to places unknown that even the world champion was not able to land on, and get a victory in a Go format tournament playing the Reasoning Gate strategy. But that is the top 8 decks from the PWCQ number 39. It was a fantastic event. Shout out to everyone who came out to play and participate. Shout out to everyone who watched those streams and everyone who watched this video. Again, I'm not editing this video, so make sure you like and subscribe, and tell me if you can get down with this super low budge, quick turnaround video. If you're feeling it, or if you want to say, hey, JDZ, take a break, get some edits on that thing, I'll do that too. But as always, continue to like and subscribe. I'm JDZ. I play Ghosts. To the next time, shout out to all the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.